So I stopped taking this every week this year because I got that, and there's a big fail this winter. Um, I just noticed something that I was failing. Uh, I thought the batteries were dying somehow after 5 years. No, I was uh, I was using it in the winter time. Get it? And the batteries would die. I thought that was just like the battery signal, but it was in fact the it was both joints on the circuit. There are two joints on the circuit. If a spark happens, both joints explode. So the spark happened around August or something, and I'm sure the joints were exploded. Were not working since then. But maybe it was October. Yeah, it was probably October where the joints exploded. No, it must have been sometime after October, but like the batteries were reading low. It started not working. I was like, it's all their their batteries. No, the electromagnetic circuit was disconnected this whole winter. That'd explain it. Like the power's back and everything on it. So it sounds like it's brand new now. Um, I did do the major maintenance. Now I did do. I don't do. I didn't ride it that much. That's why I don't care. But uh, that's what electromagnetism does. Is it gives you the power back on the thing too. Um, I do want to test it to show you what I mean. Uh, all those tests were, probably not electromagnetic. Probably since August or something. Because a small spark will, even if you don't think it's a big deal, a small spark will, uh, if you make that thing spark when you touch it, um, which happens very easily. Um, but I wound it up really good, so everything's spread apart now. Um, what happens is two of the joints will uh, will two of the joints will break, and this will happen almost every time because I did it 3 times in a row last time, yesterday. Like I was like 2 days ago, I was like, I'm gonna spark this just a little bit. Like I spark it, joint melts. Spark it, joint melts. Spark it, joint melts. So I just can't spark it. Like I literally can't touch it. There is an electromagnetic field if you get a. I used to have a voltmeter. The 7-Eleven, like someone stole it from there. Like someone cut my wire. Like they thought they were funny, so they tried to cut my blinkers at 7-Eleven. I saw a wire cut, so I'll leave it there sometimes, and they'll think the sidewalk is really wide, but they'll try to be a well, long story. They'll just try to be law-abiding citizens, even though I'm not disrupting the law by parking the vehicle. I mean, it is motorized, and I am parking it on the side, but it's like parking an electric skateboard on the side. It's just really small, and it's not in your way. You don't have to come up to it, okay, and piss on it, whatever. Anyways, it's just a project. Yeah, so it was, the voltmeter, I wish I still had it, but it would go off, not here, but I think at this distance, it goes off. Like, you have to be kind of close. So there's some sort of electromagnetic field on it. At least on the grid there is. If it's, I can't remember if it's off the grid or on, but there is an electromagnetic field, and on the grid is different than off the grid, because on the grid it's 40. It's the voltage ratio changes than off the grid. I showed you on the previous video. Yeah. So, I think on the grid there's an electromagnetic field, not off the grid. So the frame's lighting up or something. But I'm not sure, because that that charger right there is 40 by 6. I don't know if it's different before, but 40 volts by 6 volts is quite a lot. So that changes the pulse circuit to 40 by 6. So you're carrying like 6 amps instead of like 1 amp, which this is recharging at. It's recharging at 1 amp. I did the math on the previous video, like I did the research, and we got like 1 amp on the charge sequence. But 1 amp's pretty good, you know. It's not bad. Like, it'll make your the point of ERVs is not recharging, it's to make your lead acid batteries last forever, basically. It's not distance either. I'm afraid that the distance I have not tested yet. Like, I could test the distance one day, and I might, but I don't know if that's relevant to the study of electromagnetism. Because obviously it might not go the full distance, but it will go like 3 times the distance. It has to do that. Like 1 to 3 times the distance, sure. I'm just going to try the distance though later. I'm gonna try the distance when we hit spring. So I'm also going to try to get the the system up and running, basically. Like, I'm gonna, like, the next time I ride it, I'll try the distance when it gets a little bit warmer. Like, the distance values I'm gonna try is when it feels like it's draining, I'll get off. Like, I'll stop the vehicle. And I'm just gonna circle this area right here. There's like a racetrack around my area. It's really interesting. So I'm gonna do that. And there's a bike path that you can follow along if you're going too slow. Like, this one goes 20. So I'm gonna do the distance on this and show you what I mean by ERVs. Like, I'm not rich. I'm not buying batteries, okay, and replacing them. This battery is 5 years old. I have an eBay receipt to prove that. maybe not. Um, but the distance on it will go. Will be exceptionally longer than the distance on a conventional electric, and it will run a lot better in the cold. And the 1 amp thing is like an estimate that I gave you. The the true fact is that this, it might be greater than 1 amp. This battery charger is doing what this motor takes over when it spins. So when it spins, uh, it will charge the motor, the batteries. And I think this, I don't have an amp meter, but I think it would be like 6 amps actually. I think it would be equivalent to this battery charger. It's like off grid, because you're taking the electricity from the motor, you're building it up. Um, 6 amps at 5 watts, and you're basically collecting it in a capacitor and fortifying it. You're actually putting voltage against voltage. So, not a complex power circuit, but I still don't understand what it is. But it is about 6. I have a theory it's 6 amps, because back in the day when I was doing testing over the years, I did something equivalent to 6 amps. Like I wrote it for a while, then I touched it up with a voltmeter to see what it was, and it had some weird numbers like 13 by 12 volts. It's just an unknown. It's just an unknown science. Like, why do I think this is 6 amps? Because the motor when it's spinning helps it a lot. It helps charge the battery. I think it's like connecting it to this outlet basically when the motor is spinning. I don't know what the recharge ratio is actually. I'm lost there. I don't have an amp meter. If someone wants to donate one, sure. But I don't have an amp meter, so I can't. And it does look like junk, but it's definitely not. I can't give you the right amperage right now. Like, that's. I don't even know if it's more powerful than the wall charger, to tell you the truth, when the motor is spinning. It all has to do with a voltage increase, right? It's a reverse voltage increase. So I don't know what that means, but this battery turns into 0. That one turns into at 27, and that one turned into 13. So it comes in reverse. Instead of 13, 13, 13, it's 0, 27. It's 0, 13, 27. So you know what that is, right? What's 27 plus 13? That's 36 volts and 2 batteries instead of 3. So the voltage increase is a voltage change. So we're doing whatever that battery's amperage is the recharge ratio. Lead acid batteries have a 6 amp recharge ratio, so it's 6 amps. Batteries have like a 4.5 amp ratio, so it's a 4.5 amp draw. So if you multiply 4.5 times 2, it could be 8 amps, it could be 4.5 amps, but that's my charge ratio. So it's almost like plugging it into a wall socket when the motor's acting like a generator. That's what it is. So imagine that, having a Tesla that can plug into that you don't that can use its the recoil system, that can use its 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 pulse circuit to charge off grid, to charge via the electric generator. That's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what I did. It could be 4.5, it could be 8, but it's, it's whatever that 27 by 12 amp ratio is. So we have 27 and 13 volts charging a 0-volt battery. So that battery's 0 volts is blocked off, and it's either that the 27 is charging the 13 or vice versa. I think that the 27 would be charging the 13. That would make sense. Like, it wouldn't be charging a 0-volt battery, so it's reverse charging. The circuit's redirecting the current to go in what looks like reverse. So whichever way the current's going, it's going in reverse. Or maybe it's like going from the 27 to the 12 volt. It's going from the 13 volt to the last battery. Where in an electric vehicle, the last battery usually drains first, and it's usually 13, 13, 13, or 12, 12, 12, whatever. And to prove that, I can unplug it right now, and it'll read 13, 13, 13. It won't drop to 12. When you unplug an electric vehicle, it drops to 12. So those 3 batteries will not read at 12 volts. They will still be at 13 volts. And that's a principle of electromagnetism. It's to get 2 power sources instead of 1. Very simple circuit. Anyone can build it. It's about 100 years ahead of your technology, actually, to tell you the truth. You have regen braking, and that's it. That's all you have is regen braking. I have full-fledged electromagnetic charging. I have full-fledged electric vehicle charging. That's why it's a lot more effective than say a Tesla.